Hey everybody, it's Tony the Blacksmithing Gamer, and here we do everything from blacksmithing to 3D printing to bring the things inside the video games into the real world. This week, Cyberpunk came out, and with that, we are making the Mantis Blades. Let's get started. I'll show you how we made it. So we have a lot of the pieces for the Mantis Blades printed. I'm going to clean them up, get all the support material off, and then we'll start assembling and painting them. Let's get it going. So these two pieces have been put together, and next we're going to put this inside here. So this has a little ridge that fits right on the back of this, like that. And we're just going to put a little bit of epoxy on the back end of this guy, just so it sits in there extra nice. Let's get to it. Alright, so one thing I just had to redesign actually, was the, I'll call it the angled down piece that attaches to your wrist. This was the original design, and I had a little, well, I had basically a spot to fit this guy. And the idea is I could put some pins through here and just have it securely in place, but it turns out this one's a little too tight. I decided to redesign it with a more open design. That way it literally just slides back and forth, and it can adjust the blades out and in. That being said, the whole thing I actually scaled it up a little bit, and that's just to give it a little bit of room to float, and that way I could just put the screws or pins in through the holes here and just clamp it if I want to secure the arm going out and in. I'm printing the last parts of the wrist again as well, because it turns out this is a little small, and the whole thing is a little bit small. I'm printing it at 1,000 scale. That will be good for my wife's wrists. Mine are a little bit bigger. Well, this thing's, I'm thinking like, it looks really small, but honestly, even if it was just double, so 2,000, depending how big your wrist is, but I'm redesigning it because I want to use Velcro to strap it down onto my wrist. Obviously, I'm not doing any bionics in my hands, but the Velcro holes are a little bit small. I was thinking this was going to be a lot bigger, generally speaking, when I designed it, in terms of to my wrist scale, but I think that's the one thing I've always really struggled with, whether it's helmets, just the scaling of parts to me, and if they're supposed to fit on me, how they're going to fit on me, etc. So just reprinting this guy, a little bit bigger holes for the Velcro, and then what we'll do is we will epoxy it all together with 2-part epoxy. Oh, I'm also printing the pins, so there's little pins that'll pop through and attach the actual blade portion of things to this, and then this will go, don't poke myself in the eye, and this will attach to my wrist like that. So I mean, all things considered, it is a little small. As I dropped the piece, in the in-game model, I feel like they're just bigger in general, but for me and kind of how they're gonna sit on my wrist, I think they're pretty sizable. Like it after printing it, this part looks okay. It's just the wrist part looks maybe a little small. I don't know if I'll make some design changes on the 3D models, or we'll see how it looks when it's all done, and then I'll give you the final recommendations. Stay tuned for that. Let's get back to finishing this up, painting it up, and showing how the finished product looks. Let's go. I just assembled these guys. This part is printed at 1,100. This part is printed at 1,000. Why it fits better that way? Well, it's just bigger. Unfortunately, the holes don't line up perfectly because of that, so it might be a little off. I'm going to go ahead and epoxy that with some 2-part epoxy. I'm going to epoxy the ends of the, I'm using basically just a coat hanger again for the pins. I imagine if you make this a bigger design, you will have the ability to put like screws with nuts and on the end of them. Anyway, last pieces are printing right now on the 3D printer. That's the noise in the background. So let's get this glued up in the meantime, get it ready for paint so we can start doing the detail work. Let's get going. Alright, so we have the second version of the the thing we're going to strap to our wrist. So it looks a little bit better than the previous version. It looks like we got plenty of room for the Velcro in there. Now that we have all that, let's get it off to paint. All right, so we have the Mantis Blades ready for paint. We're going to give it a coat of black paint, and then we will paint some of the detail work, including the silver on the blade portion, some of the writing, and I have a new pen for some of the writing, so hopefully this will work instead of a paintbrush for some of that really fine writing. And we'll do the final assembly and give you the reveal. Let's get to painting. Alright, so my wife gave me one of these fancy little water-based paint marker pens, extra fine point, and I'm going to try to use this guy to write on the Mantis Blade writing to the best of my ability. I don't have the best writing, generally speaking, so we'll see how good I can write with this guy and if it sticks well and if it looks good. So this is a big experiment. Well, this whole thing is a big experiment. Every week is pretty much a whole experiment. See if I can make whatever it is. Here goes nothing. Alright, so we got the arm portion of things ready to go. I have some Velcro. This is usually used for cable management, but basically you just take some of this. Oh, that's still wet. Alright, let's try this again. So it's dry now. We have the piece that's going to go on your forearm. Some Velcro. Feed that on through however much you need. In my case, that's way more than enough. Right there. Take your handy dandy cutters. Rinse, repeat 4 times. So a few things about the Mantis Blades. We do have 2. They do have some articulation. They do slide in and out. I might have glued it together accidentally. First off, I think in the future I would make these bigger. As you can see, the wrist portion of things is a little on the small side, but that beside the point, I think that would be the only thing I would change, because I think they are a little bit on the smaller side in reference to the game. But they do come, each one comes in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 parts. I did play around with different designs for the wrist connection part, but I ended up actually just leaving it plain and simple. If you want to go crazy, feel free, glue it on, change the 3D design, whatever you want. But what do you think? If there's anything else from the Cyberpunk universe that you'd want to see, let me know in the comments down there below. Thanks again for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit that subscribe button down there below. Or if you want to follow me on any of these social media websites, you can get daily updates on the projects I'm working on. Thanks again for watching. I'm Tony, the Blacksmithing Gamer, where every week we're making things from the games we love.